Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us. It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Happy Monday to you. I am Philip Simon, filling in for Mark Daniels.
What a time! Twilight Zone. Things can change.
Surprise.
Yeah, but it's so good to see you, Phil.
Oh my goodness. When the alarm went up at 5 o'clock this morning, of course, the first thing you do is hit it and you go back to sleep, right? But I'm like, oh my goodness, what a deja vu. I mean, I saw people just running and exercising, and I'm driving down. I got it on, 104.5. I could say that on the show, right? 104.5, and of course, listening to the radio and watching the people exercise. And I'm like, man, some of these people actually look happy to be doing this at, at 30 in the morning. But so good to be back here, seeing all the guys. Listen, deja vu. I really missed you guys.
Indeed,
Yeah.
we missed you too. And even if we only get to have you for today, that is a day that we get to celebrate. Mark, of course, will join us by next week, and it's just a pleasure to be back in studio, to have Phil back with us, and of course to bring you the show today. Lots of things happening over the weekend, including the Bahamas proclaiming King Charles as king.
Casey?
KC, King's Council, King's Charles.
Man.
What a new time, a new era
Yeah.
is upon us, certainly. And, it was just interesting seeing the ceremony of it all and just the very blatant reminder that we are still very much, the king is still our head of state.
When I spoke to, my kids about this, in particular Kemuel, and, he was asking me, well, what did I think and how did I feel and all the rest of that. And I was like, well, to put it mildly, I said, well, listen, I didn't really know her personally. But, I encouraged him in all seriousness. I said, well, Camilo, it's more than just, this whole concept of kings and queens and prince and princesses. And I encouraged him to really read more and learn more about the history of this structure of the institution, what it meant back 1,200 plus years ago, and what it means today. And when you do that, so many things come to mind. And so, to be honest, I'm kind of,
Yeah, no, you're conflicted, and I think many of us are. In a report that is quite available online, and I've heard some of our news reporters quote it. They talk about when the Queen visited back in 1994. There just being mixed sentiment about her visit, and that those over 45 at that time in '94 were more favorable toward her than those under. And it certainly just comes down to when you were born, and were you born into an independent Bahamas or not, right? And then how far removed from that system are you? Of course, in recent times, the internet and conversations like this one are able to happen, right?
Yeah,
But 20
correct.
years ago, this conversation would not happen on air in fear of some sort of repercussion. And so we're just really coming to a new place of knowledge and understanding. And I think that should continue to be a conversation for national discourse, to be able to, if you choose to, honor the past, but also to look forward to a brighter future. And so I would hope that our government, even as they stand on the steps and honor our king as he is, the head of state, are having serious conversations about the future of our nation.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. We could spend the entire 1 hour addressing this topic here alone, but we've got so much more to come.
We do. We've got another great show lined up for you today. Speaking of the Queen, Father Ruel, he's going to share about Queen Elizabeth's Christian faith. He was very recently in England himself doing some studies, and so we're going to be learning more from him this morning. And the Ministry of Education continues its Focus on Education series, and CIBC will tell us about their Walk for the Cure fundraiser.
And the Ministry of Education continues its Focus on Education series, and we'll talk to the Honorable John Pinder about his presentation at the upcoming Abaco Business Outlook. There's still time, of course, to register for the Abaco Business Outlook happening this week, Thursday, September 15th. This is a virtual event, and the cost is $40. You can register at tclevents.com.
Indeed, you can. Well, we hope that you'll go ahead and get registered, that you'll stay with us throughout the rest of the morning. We're going to take a first look now at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
The G-Man.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Temperature 90 degrees Fahrenheit, heat index 101. Tonight, we're looking at partly cloudy, still a warm and muggy one, with a few nighttime showers, isolated thunderstorms, your low temperature going down to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 88 and 80. In Jamaica, 87 and 78. In Trinidad, 88 and 78. And in Turks and Caicos Islands, 92 and 80. Across North America, Atlanta, 79 and 69. In Raleigh, 82 and 68. In Miami, 89 and 79. Dallas, Texas, 85 and 70. And Toronto, Canada, 74 and 67. As you go the week, we'll look at a mix of sun and clouds most of the week because of that frontal boundary stalling just north of the islands. High pressure continue to be weak with those light winds. And so for the most part, we'll look at a mix of sun and clouds, still hot, still muggy, with a few showers, isolated thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon hours, though temperature daytime will be in the lower 90s, at nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts you up in your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
With so much going on in the world today, only accepting cash at your business can be risky. Let Fidelity offer you and your customers safety, convenience, and the flexibility of a fixed or mobile terminal. Take it with you, on the move and on the go, because business should never stop. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit us at any of our branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Hello, summer. Escape into summer when you fuel up with Shell. Every time you purchase $20 gas, you're entered to win your share of over $50,000 in cash prizes and fantastic trips, including a staycation at Grand Island Exuma, a shopping spree in Miami, and a 4-day trip to Las Vegas to see John Legend live. To enter, fuel up at Shell with $20. Go to winwithshellbahamas.com and let the fun begin. Say hello summer with Shell today. Conditions apply. Hello summer.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Queen Elizabeth II continues to be the topic of conversation around the world as many mourn or feel differently about her death. This morning, though, we did want to speak with those from the Anglican Communion, of which she was known as the head. Queen Elizabeth II was known as a faithful Christian disciple who lived out her faith every day. She bore the title Defender of the Faith and was also the Supreme Governor of the Church of England. Here to talk with us about this, we're very happy to welcome Father Ruel Strachan, Assistant Curate at St. Agnes Parish. Father Strachan, good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here, Father. It's my understanding that you yourself were on a journey to England just a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Enjoying a communion of Anglican priests from all around the world.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So when we talk about Queen Elizabeth's personal faith, what can you say about that?
Well, I think her personal faith was expressed so publicly that there are many things that we can say, but it was a faith that was deeply rooted and grounded in the knowledge and love of God, trust in God, and in our own personal knowledge and reading of the scriptures, and in our own personal and private devotions, as well as in her public devotions. We see her publicly praying and attending church services, and we see in her a life that deeply trusted in God as the ultimate arbiter in human affairs.
Certainly most of us get our information or viewpoint from today's versions and television shows about her. And even in those, they always seem to her faith in God. From a, I guess, more literal perspective, what did it mean for Queen Elizabeth to be titled Defender of the Faith and the Supreme Governor of the Church of England?
Well, first, the Defender of the Faith was a title that I think dates back to the 16th century when it was bestowed upon King Henry VIII by Pope Leo X. And it was because he had produced a pamphlet defending the 7 sacraments of the Church. And that title was upheld by British Parliament, even after it was taken back by the Pope. It was upheld by British Parliament throughout the years for the monarchs. And so she inherited that title as Defender of the Faith and as Supreme Governor of the Church of England, which means that she had a very important role to play in the life of the national church. She was very active in the appointments of archbishops and bishops and deans of cathedrals through, of course, the advice of the Prime Minister and then the Crown Nominations Commission. And she was also personally responsible for what we call the Royal Peculiars, so places like Westminster Abbey that gather for worship, who answer essentially directly to the monarch.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting to find out, right? And then it's always a reminder of our deep-rooted connection between politics and faith, particularly for those of us who might be Anglican and connected, therefore, directly to the church and state. So quite interesting to hear you say it that way. But we also know that, or our understanding is that throughout her palaces and castles, etc., she had royal chapels placed there, along with lots of chaplains, and it was not only to conduct services, but also to give her spiritual advice. Does that give us an inclination of the depth of her faith and the genuineness of it?
Yeah, it does, because she saw these places of worship, these sacred spaces, as something significant and important, and an integral part of the faith that we are called to share. And she saw the ministry of priests at the altar and their pastoral ministry as something important. And particularly in these later years, it was quite moving for many of us to see her uphold that in contexts where many people are sort of becoming out of touch or losing that respect for sacred spaces and for the ministry of priests. She was one who upheld that, and she saw public worship as very important, in addition to her private devotion. And I think that we can't stress that enough, that she saw public worship as central and important to her life of faith.
And I love that you made mention of the fact of sacred spaces, because you're very right. We minimize things so very often, and we've become so common in how we address it all, right? And so to be able to acknowledge something as sacred, it's a beautiful thing. How did her faith, you think, impact the work she did?
I think it greatly impacted the work that she did, because all of the work that she did, she understood as being divinely inspired by God, and so she was able to work infused with the principles of the gospel, and that's a beautiful thing to be able to do, and that's a beautiful thing to be able to do, especially as a life which speaks to one's own living faith in Jesus.
Okay, and you say Jesus, and I like that. One of the things we noticed about the Queen is that she didn't just refer to God, right? And God is quite, many people use the word God all the time, and it's become the thing again that connects, right? And so people don't want to say Jesus in fear of offense. But she was very adamant about calling Jesus Christ's name when she spoke in reference to God. And what does that say? How impressive is that boldness?
I think that is very impressive, and it's something that we don't hear often, at least. She spoke about Jesus, and particularly in her Christmas messages, the themes of the incarnation and hope in Jesus and the resurrection were very powerful messages to send out at times to people who were very much in need of that. And to hear her speak about her life being based on the examples and teachings of Jesus, for a world leader to do that in a very public forum is a powerful thing, and again, expressive of that deep and enduring personal faith that she has.
Yeah, very well said, Father Strachan. What role do you think faith plays in living a life of service and a sacrificial life?
I think it plays a very important role because a life of faith is, again, founded on the teachings and belief in Jesus Christ. And he himself said, I have come not to be served, but to serve, and to give my life a ransom for many. And those who follow him are called to take up those words. And what came across so powerfully in Her late Majesty's life was the taking up of those words, that I've come not to be served, but to serve, and to serve and to live in the spirit of the gospel, which is a life infused with the teachings of Jesus and with the very life of Jesus.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Father Strachan, for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise and shedding some light on what we know of her publicly, and obviously having had conversations recently in England yourself, which you might have heard about her privately, and for just bringing that into context to us this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you for staying with us. We'll be back in just a minute.
JA Bahamas is back. We are returning to face-to-face with new programs. Did you know that JA has programs starting at kindergarten to grade 12? We have JA Elementary, JA for Juniors, JA Aspire, and the JA Company program. Be sure to sign up today. Junior and senior school registration begins on September 12th. Follow us on Facebook or visit our website today for more information.
In the Bahamas, small business is big business. More than 90% of the businesses in the Bahamas are classified as micro, small, or medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs. The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center was created to serve them. We at the Access Accelerator offer a variety of services to our clients: business advisory services, training and entrepreneurial programming, mentorship and incubation, and advocacy.
Since 1967, Freeport Oil Company Limited has been dedicated to fueling growth and prosperity in the Bahamas. We have been a constant pillar within the country, striving to invest and support our community through the best of times and the worst of times. For us, Full Call represents 21 years of strength and consistency, consistent leadership, consistent growth, consistent customer service. Through it all, we are resilient. Full Call, fueling growth for people.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Teachers help so many, and yet what happens when they themselves need help? Also, what kind of care can students receive through the school system? Here to talk with us about this morning are Iris Strachan, Coordinator, Employee Assistance Program, Monique Braynen, Employee Assistance Program as well, and Clevette Gibson, Coordinator, Guidance and Counseling. Good morning, ladies. Welcome back to the show, I believe. A pleasure seeing you this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you.
All right, this is always important stuff. Education is like always tops for me. It's the thing that makes the world go round, of course. Iris, tell us exactly what is Employee Assistance doing to promote mental health, of course, an important topic, and to encourage employees to address their own mental health.
Okay, so the Employee Assistance Program actually is doing quite a number of things. So they would They are actually doing individual group counseling, etc. But we are working closely with the executives of the Ministry of Education, we are bringing awareness to the employees so that they themselves would be able to take care of themselves. We are promoting the program through some of the major events, such as the teachers' orientation, the new hires orientation, district meetings, and the dialogues in education. Just some of those programs, we are promoting it.
Yeah, definitely awareness. Monique, the pandemic, of course, created high levels of stress and disruption. What measures have been taken by additional measures have been taken by the Employee Assistance Program to ensure that your services are available, obviously, to everyone, particularly employees that are still experiencing that stress level, uncomfortable, and obviously those who might be uncomfortable with face-to-face contact?
Well, good morning again. As you know, the pandemic has forced all of us to go virtual. And the Ministry of Education, through the Employees Assistance Program, is no different. What we have been able to do was utilize the various virtual platforms such as Zoom, WhatsApp chat, FaceTime, and of course Teams, one of the ministry's platform. For those who are not connected to the internet, the ministry have provided phones that we may be able to reach out to them as well. Through these platforms, we have been able to give services as far away as Inagua, Cat Island, and San Salvador. So the ministry has done quite a bit in terms of reaching its employees, no matter where they are in the Bahamas.
Yeah, absolutely, and so much has changed over the last 3 years. Clevette, what kinds of psychosocial problems do students present with these days? Has it changed? And how does your department deal with these issues?
Well, good morning and thank you. It hasn't changed as much. Guidance has been doing the same thing we've always been doing. There's just been a focus now nationally and worldwide. But I will say that we are seeing some elevated levels in terms of abuse victims. And so there are some students presenting with low self-esteem, needing additional resources, and we are able to assist. We focus on resilience, learning recovery, and most importantly, we are implementing social emotional learning to assist.
Yeah, I tell you, the social environment has changed so much as well over the last several years, and the headlines we see are different today than they were even 5 years ago. Are guidance counselors in all of the schools? How many do we have?
We have about 126 guidance counselors. Most of the schools in New Providence have school counselors, not all on the islands. But wherever there is not a counselor, we have a virtual team. And counseling is provided virtually for any student everywhere.
Everywhere, all right. I've been addressing you by your first names. I apologize for that. Some of your students probably don't even know who you are or who I'm talking about this morning. So I'm going to go back to the formal way. Ms. Strachan, Ms. Braynen, how does the EAP propose to address the mental health needs of employees and promote recovery, particularly for teachers and guidance counselors in the school system?
Go ahead, Ms. Braynen.
Well, we have been able to, over the post-pandemic, put together several groups as the need arose. And we found that there was a need for group counseling in grief. So we have put together a grief group counseling. And as you know, grief encompasses many things other than just death. Right. Many persons are suffering loss of their health, loss of freedom, loss in almost every area. The group grief counseling addresses that. For our counselors in the system, the school counselors, we have been able to provide for them an outlet of another group of counseling that they can go to for support. Because, sometimes the helper helps everyone, but never gets the help they need. Right. So we have put together a program that would assist them. We also have another program that's called Free Your Mind. And that is for anyone who is suffering any kind of trauma that just needs a safe space to talk and get it out, because we've understood that suicide is on the rise in our country, and we'd like to be able in the ministry to prevent that even for our employees.
I want to add to that also. You would remember that the pandemic came right on the heels of Hurricane Dorian. So the EAP has not really been able to target Abaco. So we have something special for Abaco to ensure their full recovery. Being in a hurricane zone, we also have a hurricane preparedness video that we will be airing soon, so that persons would be able to prepare themselves and hopefully overcome some of the fears.
Yeah, absolutely important topic there. Ms. Gibson, final question to you: Is it taboo for students to receive counseling, or are they open to support? The learning environment can sometimes be brutal. And what do you say to those who may be hesitant to ask for such help?
Oh, we found exactly the reverse. Guidance counseling is the department in the schools. Actually, when the pandemic, what happened was students called their counselors, texted them. That was their only outlet, believe it or not. During the pandemic, the cyberbullying increased because they were online doing things, so they needed their counselor. We don't have a PR problem in guidance. We actually did a survey last year, and we found that the students overwhelmingly would refer us just to their friends. So we didn't even have to do anything. We were doing such a good job that the students would actually refer us themselves.
Oh, well, excellent stuff. Ladies, thank you so much. I know you guys are extremely busy. You're up early. Continue the excellent job that you're doing on a national level for all of us. Of course, we're all united as one. Thank you so much for being here on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Hello, summer. Escape into summer when you fuel up with Shell. Every time you purchase $20 gas, you're entered to win your share of over $50,000 in cash prizes and fantastic trips, including a staycation at Grand Island Exuma, a shopping spree in Miami, and a 4-day trip to Las Vegas to see John Legend live. To enter, fuel up at Shell with $20. Go to winwithshellbahamas.com and let the fun begin. Say hello, summer with Shell today. Conditions apply. Hello, summer.
Our menu, it's digital, so customers, once they come in, they have to scan the menu. Due to the space size, customers were unable to connect. It was unstable. Customers were very irate. They couldn't see what we offered, so sometimes we had customers that left, and now we don't have that issue. Customers are easily accessing the menu on the website. So now it's a smooth process, and ordering is much easier. Installing the Euromesh was easy as 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Bahamas at Sunrise. Definitely looking forward to interviewing our next guest. If you've been watching the show for many years, then you know that sometimes she would host it. So we're so happy to welcome Nikia Christie. She, of course, joins us in her role with CIBC First Caribbean. They're having their flagship activity, one of them that is, the Walk for the Cure. It's the Caribbean's largest cancer fundraising and educational initiative. Here to tell us about this year's event. We're very happy to welcome her back. Thank you for joining us this morning, Nikia.
I am so happy to be here with you this morning. Good morning.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Of course, you look absolutely fabulous in your purple. The shoes, could you please get a close-up on the shoes, just so I could, show my husband what I want for Christmas. But Nikia, let's talk. How long have you guys been doing the Walk for the Cure?
Yeah, so Walk for the Cure is back. We are on year 12, but we've done it a little differently over the past 2 years because of the pandemic, right? We've all had to adjust and change our lives because of that. So even though we weren't out there walking in person, we were still fundraising. But now, 12 years, and we're back. We're so happy to be in person, out on the road with you all again. So Saturday, October 1st, we will be Walking for the Cure here in New Providence, on Grand Bahama, in Abaco, and Eleuthera. So 4 walks going on simultaneously, and we are going to, bring awareness for cancer awareness and also raise some funds for 8 cancer care organizations throughout the country.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay, so back in person for the first time in 2 years.
Yes.
And of course, it's happening on multiple islands. So happy to hear Abaco being included.
Yes.
And another reminder that our island is really coming back. How do we get signed up?
So it's very easy. So you could go into any CIBC First Caribbean branch, or you could check us out on Facebook, and you could find all of the information there, and as well as the sign-up sheet. Or you can email walkforthecure, BAH, at CIBCFCIB.com, and we'll get you sorted out. We'll get you signed up. Make sure you have your T-shirt where, lilac is our color for all cancer, because we do support all types of cancer. It's not just one particular type. We support these 8 organizations who are all caring for patients with different types of cancer.
Yeah, and that's so powerful to hear you talk about that. We, on the show, of course, get to feature so many different types of cancers, and it really is impacting our society in so many different ways. And so it's good to know that FCIBC is taking this on and continuing to contribute to the cure. What will happen at the walk? How does the walk go? What is the direction for here in Nassau? What time do we need to be there? Kind of give us those details.
Okay, so I'll start with New Providence as an example. So we're starting at 6:30. So we're asking everyone to come out 6 o'clock to start with the registration and get ready. And we're going to have a warm up, which is going to be led by Team Bowflex Barbie. Okay. So we're really excited about that. Then we go there, we get into the walk, and then after the walk, we are going to have a nice mini health fair, and we're going to have food vendors. We're going to have exhibitors out there. Of course, the focus is health and wellness. And I'll give you an example. We have the new Duff. That's confirmed after. We're going to have some chiropractic stretching, massage services there for you, and all free of charge for our participants. We just want people to get moving, walking for the cure, and enjoying. We're also going to have a raffle out there, so bring some funds. We have the vendors and the raffle. Bring some funds with you out on Saturday, October 1st, and we'll also have similar activities going on the other islands. So a warm-up, a walk, and then the mini health fair after.
All right, and then will this all be at CIBC on Shirley Street, or what will be that combination?
So here in Nassau, we're at the Goodman's Bay Corporate Center. Okay. So we have our CIBC Wealth Management and our trust there. So we'll start at Goodman's Bay Corporate Center here. We will go down to Sandals, turn around, come back, and then the party begins. Okay. On Abaco, it's BAIC Park where they start, and in Grand Bahama and Eleuthera at the branches on those islands is where we start the walk.
Okay, excellent. I love that. I think I could actually do that walk, boy. That
well, you have to. You have to do that walk.
And the 8 organizations that are going to benefit, what are some of those names, and how have they been active in the community? What made them the organizations that CIBC really wanted to help and support?
Sure. So Cancer Society of the Bahamas, they have the Cancer Care Center there where they house people from all over the Bahamas to come in and get their treatment and stay there for free. So of course we will do that. And also Cancer Society of Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, Abaco, Sister Breast Cancer in the various islands, and also GD Sharing and Caring, and a new one, the Mammogram Access Program, which is in Grand Bahama. They are doing great work getting women on that island access to mammograms. Yeah. So those are the organizations that we're really going to be putting the funds towards.
I love that. I'm so happy to just hear that this is a Bahamas initiative, right? And not just a New Providence-centric initiative, because we know on the islands of Grand Bahama and Eleuthera, the rates for cancer is incredibly high, right? And across the country. So it's so exciting to see CIBC not just giving to one organization, but to spread that money across to 8 of them. How do we register in terms of payment? Is there a payment fee in order to register?
Yes, of course. So $25 for registration for adults and $12 for kids. And the good thing that we like to boast about is all proceeds go towards the cancer care organizations. We don't take any of that money to help set up the walk or with planning. Every dollar that you spend for Walk for the Cure goes to those organizations. And we're really excited. We're hoping to raise lots of funds this year because as you know, what we talked about the pandemic and everybody suffered, so that means donations also went down for these organizations. Cancer didn't stop, right? Cancer didn't take a break during the pandemic. And then when we talk about Grand Bahama and Abaco, they're still trying to get back on their feet, so we want to make sure that those islands have what they need to assist cancer patients.
Very well said, very well said. All right, so registration is $25, October 1st. We want to be there at 6 a.m. to make sure that we have everything in place. And then, of course, we do that warm-up here in Nassau at Bowflex Barbie, my girl. We do the walk, and then we come back and we enjoy the health fair. And if I come and I win now, do y'all have any little thing special for me if I win?
Yeah, so we have medals for all participants, and then we have trophies for people who win their category, right? And then also we'll have giveaways and all sorts of exciting things, and our wonderful exhibitors will be giving away things as well. And we are also looking for corporate sponsors to help us with this, because like I said, in 2018 we raised $90,000. Right? In 2019, we were close there, about 75. Now we're hoping to go back up again. So we're looking for as many corporate sponsors as possible to join us. We have some wonderful corporate sponsors on board, but we need a lot more to join.
Yeah, so how do they do that? How can they contact you if someone's watching now, they want to be a part of it in terms of sponsorship? How do they reach out to you?
Sure, Walk for the Cure, BAH at CIBCFCIB.com, or they can call us at 302-6063. Just let us know that you want to donate, sponsor, or be a part of Walk for the Cure.
Excellent. Now, we got the email address. For those who want to register, I want to give them the Facebook one more time. Can you give it to us, please?
Yeah, sure. So it's just CIBC, First Caribbean, BAH. When you look that up on Facebook, Instagram, and you can find all that information there.
All right. Well, this has been a pleasure to connect with you again. I knew this was going to happen, right? Pretty women cannot come into the studio and still not say hello. But it's good. It's like a reunion.
I am the champion.
Phil did not.
Phil
He was out of breath, barely.
Barely
made it.
I just gave him like a blind because he visited and you visited. But we all know that you're a real, just Olympian. I'm still an Olympian. Phil? Anyway, thank you so much.
It's so good to be here.
You know what? We're going to challenge Phil again. We're going to challenge him to sign up for the Race for the Cure, see if he could beat our Olympian on that, and then let's have a real conversation
And
about
Phil's
it.
wearing purple, so you're promoting Walk for the Cure with us this morning. So are you going to be there? It's Saturday, October 1st, Phil.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you so much, Nikia, for joining us this morning, for sharing more on Walk for the Cure, and really just encouraging us to participate, both corporate Bahamas and us as individuals. We can take this thing so far. These organizations do so much work to help those in need, and it's really a pleasure to be able to talk with you about it, to know that you guys are celebrating 12 years of doing this.
Yes.
And I hope that people will go ahead and get signed up.
Yeah, I hope so. And I just want to say, if the $25 is too steep, any dollar amount, you can just donate. There's a Walk for the Cure account. You could go into any First Caribbean branch and just say that you want to donate $1, $5, $2, whatever you can do.
Yeah, well said. Every donation matters if it comes to saving a life, and so we're grateful for our friends at First Caribbean for doing that. Remember, you can go in and donate to Walk for the Cure, even if you can't make it on October 1st, but we hope that you will. We'll be back with more in just a minute.
The Euro device is very affordable. It allows you to increase your internet connectivity. You are able to do away with the buffering, say goodbye to the dead spots. It gives them a much more stable connection. Their customers are able to view their digital menus. The establishment is able to stream. It allows for everyone, the customers and the business operators, to have a much more robust and stable internet connectivity.
Hello, summer. Escape into summer when you fuel up with Shell. Every time you purchase $20 gas, you're entered to win your share of over $50,000 in cash prizes and fantastic trips, including a staycation at Grand Island Exuma, a shopping spree in Miami, and a 4-day trip to Las Vegas to see John Legend live. To enter, fuel up at Shell with $20. Go to winwithshellbahamas.com and let the fun begin. Say hello, summer with Shell today. Conditions apply. Hello, summer.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're at the halfway point on this marvelous Monday. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Happy Monday to you indeed. I am Philip Simon, filling in for Mark Daniels.
So good to have Phil back in studio, except of course he runs and then disrupts my sets, which I'd forgotten, but you know, alas, one day only, right?
One day only, one day only.
Before we go any further, just wanting to take a second to wish a very special happy birthday to my Aunt Jacqueline Knowles up there in Grand Bahama, celebrating her birthday today. We love you very much, Aunt Jackie. Thank you so much for all that you've done, all that you continue to do. And we pray that God continues to bless you with many more in good health and happiness.
Oh, happy birthday, Auntie Jackie. Listen, I got to say good morning then to my Mommy Jackie. Mommy Jackie down there in Fox Hill. Grammy Kathleen down there in Fox Hill. It's been a while since you've seen me like this, provided you're watching right now. But anyway, good morning to everybody.
Good morning, Fox Hill. Well, we got more to come in the second half of the show. The first half, of course, has been so full and entertaining and educational and informative. But in the second half, we're going to be talking with the Honorable John Pinder about his Abaco Business Outlook presentation.
And we'll also be talking with His Excellency, Hubert Edwards. He's here to talk about the Ministry of Finance. No? His Excellency? No?
Declare it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The power of life and death is in the tongue.
We'll be talking about the Ministry of Finance's monthly fiscal report.
But now we're going to take a second look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Star, and good morning, Bahamas. And yes, second look at weather, sunrise, the tropics. We do have two systems, a tropical wave, some 1,000 miles east of the Windward Islands, moving towards the west about 15 miles per hour. That has a 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 5 days. And the tropical wave will just move off the west coast of Africa today. That too has a 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation during the next 5 days. On local scene, weak high pressure across the islands. Then we have a weak frontal boundary moving into the central Florida area, and that'll elevate rain chances, particularly Grand Bahama, Abaco today, and the northwest Bahamas by tomorrow. In the marine forecast today with winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet in northwest Bahamas, variable at 10 knots or less, seas less than 3 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Tuesday, those winds come southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet in northwest Bahamas, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Wednesday, those winds southerly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet in northwest Bahamas, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a high tide at 9:53 this morning. Your next low tide will be at 4:11 this afternoon. High again tonight at 13 minutes past 10. Sunset will be at 7:16 this evening. Rises more at 6:54. UV index 9. Your water temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit. And your moon phase, full moon. External look. That weak frontal boundary north of the islands will trigger off some showers and isolated thunderstorms across northwest Bahamas over the next 48 hours. High pressure regains itself by the end of the week. Low temperature daytime will be around the 90-degree mark, at nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts a wrap on your final look at the weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. The Ministry of Finance released its monthly fiscal report on government operations for the month of June 2022. Here to break it down for us this morning is none other than Hubert Edwards. He is the principal of Next Level Solutions and chairman of the Organization for Responsible Governance Economic Development Committee. My brother Hubert, welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Phil. And maybe I should be telling you welcome back.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, and I appreciate that. Listen, you have said you think that the report is an optimistic one. It's an optimistic signal, I should say, of the country's financial standing. Why do you say that?
And I think it's important, the distinction you made is not an optimistic one, it's an optimistic signal.
Yeah.
The main reason for saying that is when you look at where we are as a country, when you take into consideration the debt circumstances that we are facing, when you put on the table the discussions we have been having around debt and the engagement of Rothschild and all of that sort of thing, the argument has been that there is a message which is not getting over to the credit market. Well, I believe that that message has to be based on fundamentals. And the fundamentals is where are the numbers at this point in time? What these set of numbers have done is say to us, say to the public, that for the first time, the government is taking in revenue of $2.6 billion. That will be historical. Now, we know that there may be some impact as a result of inflation in those numbers. We don't know how much, but let's take it in absolute terms. It's a historical level. Revenue is up 11% on budget. Tax revenue is up 7% on budget. Value-added tax is up 22% on budget. And at the end of the day, we are 3% below in terms of our expenditure. What is most important, though, is that the deficit is expected to come in at about 698 compared to the 951, some 200 plus million. That signals to the market that something is changing. It signals that the reconsolidation that we expected coming out of the pandemic is happening at a faster and more robust way. And consequently, sending that message and telling the message to the credit market is going to be that much easier. So that's where the positive signal comes from.
Yeah, but there's a word in there that you mentioned quite often. It's a word we hear about all the time: debt.
Yes.
And I think you termed it as a fiscal insanity of running these never-ending deficits.
Yes.
What do you think is really the key takeaway from the report and where we might see ourselves financially now?
Well, you know, those words were written in the report by the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
And when a ministry or administration comes out and say, if we continue doing this, this is going to lead us to fiscal calamity. And if we live in this way, this is fiscal insanity. It says that we are at a place where persons are sitting up and accepting what the realities are on the ground. So we certainly cannot continue like this. And so the trajectory, if you will, which has been outlined by the government, we don't know if we will meet it, but it's important because it says in this year, we will reduce the deficit. In next year, we will do that until we get to 2025, where we are seeking to run into a surplus. At the end of the day, Phil, we all understand that deficit demands borrowing. And in a very serious way, the overall national debt is an accumulation of deficit over the years. So the extent to which we can reduce that or eliminate deficit then augurs well for the reduction of the overall debt. The plan per the debt management strategy is for 2031 to be at 50% debt to GDP. Now, how do we get there without having significant growth involved in this whole process is going to be important. So even as we look at the positive signals, we have to keep our eyes on the whole fact that we need to be talking about reform, and we need to be doing the things which are going to be necessary to give the country a boost from a growth perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're hitting everything on the head as usual, Hubert. And you talk about reform because, you know, we're talking about revenue, and obviously the numbers spoke to the increase in revenue.
Right.
And, you know, there were a couple of lines in there about the expense of 3%, et cetera. But it's both sides of the equation always that you kind of have to look at.
Right.
And if you're going to get to that 2031 goal, I don't even know which one is more important, whether it's an increase in the revenue, decrease in the debt, the expenses, and the reform that is required, right, in order for us to even seriously undertake either.
You know what is critical is that none of them are more important. Is that we have to really start to think in terms of resilience. And resilience is not just reconsolidation and coming back to pre-2019 levels. It's about the changes that we're going to make to sustain that. At the end of the day, I don't believe that getting to 50% of debt to GDP is as important as growing the economy such that you can deliver the goods and services, especially to the vulnerable population. We listen to the Prime Minister and we hear this discussion and this term that he has been using, economic dignity. And economic dignity says, look, we want to have people who can live in such a way that regardless of their state, regardless of their circumstances, regardless of who they are, they can live a life which is, full. Fulsome. And so we have to get to the place where we start to fix these things fundamentally. But these numbers coming out today, and we don't know if they're going to hold because the fourth quarter report is not yet out. But we're keeping our fingers crossed that these will hold and they will send a positive signal to the rest of the world.
Yeah, just a quick change of topic here. You talk about the current performance of our Forex bonds as being the biggest issue. Why do you say that?
It is the biggest issue because it has the greatest negative signal. Our bonds are today selling at, or persons are demanding a significant premium. At one point in time, the last time I checked, we were at indicative price of like 21%. That is significantly over the market. And while there are persons who have said, we are not the only one in this situation, we are in many instances above our peers. The credit market says to us, if you are going to borrow, in terms of the demand, we have about $1.8 billion borrowing demand. If we were to borrow that money today, at that level, it would be totally imprudent. When you also look at what's happening in the domestic market has been reluctant to pick up government debt. So where's government going to get this money from? The deficit and the operation of the country cannot move forward unless it can be funded. So until we get this messaging right, and this is where Rothschild and them comes in, until we get this messaging right and we get that premium down to reasonable levels, we're going to have some challenges.
Yeah, I know it's not a magic bullet or anything like that,
No.
but what do you see if you had to choose and just pick one as the greatest or the biggest opportunity for us as a country to grow the economy?
The biggest opportunity may be, obviously you have to continue to work with tourism because that's the big thing. But I think agriculture holds a significant impact. Why do I say that? Agriculture has the ability to glean from tourism. Like if you look at what they do in Jamaica, the Kentuckys, the Burger Kings, and so they all have to source their goods locally. If we were in a position to do that, then this discussion that we always have that 80% of the tourism revenue goes back out of the country. We would be in a position to domesticate more of that. Some persons don't like to hear this term, but the trickle-down effect, the way the money then push out into the domestic economy becomes more significant because guess what? The agricultural economy is usually most likely owned on a domestic level. And so if we can do that, I believe that agriculture, marine, holds a very significant, and of course the orange industry, given where we are, people like to enjoy the environment, they like to hear the stories, there's more that we can do. So we have some opportunities to make some changes.
Yeah, import substitution for sure. And,
definitely.
And then we talk about, the costs, of just running a country, the cost of doing business and the imports, especially related to, energy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where it's important. Right now we are getting cream on food and energy from an inflationary point of view. I mentioned earlier that we're not sure yet how much inflation has aided those numbers to get to the 2.6 billion because as you know, we run a regressive tax system. In a regressive tax system, government revenue benefits from inflationary impact. So there are levels of uncertainties that we have to work with. But the truth is, we have to now put ourselves in the best possible position that when we get the fundamentals right, we can move forward. And if we are going to get those fundamentals right, reform has to become central to what we're doing.
Sometimes it's a big topic. It seems complicated to people who are listening, but how do you break this down to the regular, everyday Bahamian? What can we do to assist our country?
we have to become, as the Prime Minister said, more vigilant and more frugal. And that's in a fundamental sense. We have to start thinking about how we can contribute, how our work contribute to the overall national growth. We have to become more productive on our work. We have to find ways in which we can, help our brothers and help our sisters. But most importantly, we have to become very knowledgeable about what's happening within the country and recognize that there's no separation between citizens and government. If government borrow, the citizen owns it. And we must therefore let our voices be heard. We have to get to the place where we lose our timidity and become bolder in saying, we believe that this is the way to go. And when persons are doing right, when policymakers are doing something right, we should, give them kudos. Don't always go for the negative. And when they are not, we should say, well, we do not like that, because at the end of the day, it is the citizenry which fund this country through taxation.
That's right. All right. Hubert Edwards, a pleasure, man. Thank you for welcoming me back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Yes, it's good to be here with you, Phil. It's good to see you. And, it's always a pleasure to sit down and talk about these things. It's important for our country, because I think where we are as a country today, if we don't get it right over the next 5 years,
our great-grandchildren, everybody suffers.
We're going to be in a spot of bother.
Thank you, man. Hubert Edwards, Principal, Next Level Solutions. For watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Hello, summer. Escape into summer when you fuel up with Shell. Every time you purchase $20 gas, you're entered to win your share of over $50,000 in cash prizes and fantastic trips, including a staycation at Grand Island Exuma, a shopping spree in Miami, and a 4-day trip to Las Vegas to see John Legend live. To enter, fuel up at Shell with $20. Go to winwithshellbahamas.com and let the fun begin. Say hello, summer with Shell today. Conditions apply. Hello, summer.
Well, that's going to do it for us, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you so much for coming and co-piloting with me again,
It's been
man.
a blast, man. Didn't skip a beat.
No, not at all. Missed you.
Missed you too.
No. All right. We hope you guys have a wonderful week. We'll see you on Friday.
Bye.